some people, they try too fucking hard to hold on to family that is toxic because they're like, nah, man, we're family. We got to fucking do it. But there's just some people that you just got to get rid of, man.
Yeah, for me, there was, I mean, this is a whole long story. I'm not going to go too much into it. But there was a point I didn't talk to my dad for a whole year. So when I was trying to be a stand-up comic and do music and everything else like that, my dad and I did not get along. Number one, there could be a numerous reasons for it. And understandably, I understand where he comes from too, because, you know, I wasn't that great of a kid. So maybe he was trying to set up a future for me, but I didn't want to follow it. But what ended up happening was I would snap at him, he would snap at me, I would snap at him, he would snap at me. And I remember at a certain point I felt so fucking defeated. I just asked my mom, what am I supposed to do around dad? Like, how do we get along? Because as of right now, like, I feel he hates me and I hate him. She goes, you know what? You need to talk to him in a calm manner, speak to him kindly, and just say yes. Just for now, while you live under his house, just say yes. I said, cool, I'm gonna try this out. So,
and you got in a fight every 30 seconds.
Yeah, so check this shit out. So this was like my last straw. So I basically what happened was I went to Bible study, came back, but when I left the Bible study, I broke this door. It was like I lived in the backyard in this shed area. We call it the shed, but it was actually just a separate house area. That's where I lived, and my dad built that. So I was living there, but it was so hot this summer. It was like 110 degrees that the wood kind of warped and it locked me in that room. So I had to break out, and so the latch broke.
Like the Kool-Aid man.
Wait, you lived in a backyard shack?
Yeah, basically. We call it the shed. But the shed, it wasn't really a shed.
bad, yeah.
It had AC. It had
So it's like another
It's like
house.
a pool house without a house.
Yeah,
without
okay.
a pool.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I broke that shit, and I went out, and I kind of just left it there. I mean, I had nothing. I mean, what can I do? And it was in the yard, and the yard's gated out. So I came back, and my dad got home before I did, and he goes, "Why the hell did you break the door? Blah blah blah. What were you thinking?" And I was like, "Okay, Dad." And he called me, and I told him, I was like, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I'll explain to you when I get back, but I'm at Bible study right now, so can you just wait?" And he just starts screaming at the top of his lungs, and I was just like, "Dude, the shit that our mom's telling me is not working," you know. And I was like, "I'm sorry." I said sorry multiple times, and I said, "I'll be back, and we'll talk about it." So I come back home. And the first thing he did was like, he called me, he was like, "Why are you so stupid?" is what he said. And I looked at him. And so years ago, I had a conversation with him. I told him to stop calling me stupid. I was like, if you call me dumb one more time, like I will literally leave and you will never speak to me ever again. And that's the thing my mom always told him was to never call us stupid. And he called me stupid again. And, and that shit fucking enraged me. And I was like,
that means he's stupid.
Because he didn't even want to listen. So he's so interesting because like he goes like, I remember him yelling. He goes like, "Wow!" He goes, "When you need help, why don't you just call me?" I was like, "Dude, I was locked in that place. The AC was, bro. I would have died. What are you talking about, right?" And I remember because I was just trying not to yell, so I was just staying calm because I was trying to take my mom's advice.
So you didn't even get to explain that you couldn't get out.
I couldn't explain it
because he was just like yelling at you.
Yeah, and he goes, "Why would you do that?" Blah blah. I was like, "Well, the door," and he just kept yelling over me, yelling, and it got into this whole fiasco where basically it got so confrontational. I actually just fucking shoved past him, and I literally, our glass door, I fucking like Muay Thai teeped that shit, and it fucking collapsed and fell forward. I went to the back, and I grabbed my shit, and I left.
At this age, you're already too big, so he couldn't beat your ass.
Yeah, I was just too big, but you know, I never ever fought back. So
it's like you would fuck his perimeters. Yeah. You would pass him and punch the wall. Yeah. And then he's all like, "Oh, motherfucker, that's it."
Oh, you have terrible hand-eye coordination. My face are right here.
You missed me again, bitch.
Yeah. So basically what happened, like just to keep that long story short, I left. We had a point where I talked to him and I was like, "Hey man, like I told him he was wrong. I was like, "You were wrong." Right?
But he's never wrong.
Yeah. And my mom knew he was wrong and he was wrong. And he couldn't control his temper. He was yelling at me. He called me dumb. And, you know, my mom knew it too. She was really upset at him. And
How do you say stupid in Korea?
Well, he called me retarded, basically. Pyeongching. It's like retarded.
Oh, Pyeongching. Yeah. I've heard that.
So, I've heard that. And I'm Japanese. But I remember because after I left and I came back, I went to get some more of my stuff. He was just screaming in the room, and I was outside his door, and I was just standing there. And I said when he finally quieted down, I was like, what I said to him verbatim was, "If you are telling me right now you didn't do anything wrong, since the day I was born, you've never messed up once in your life, then you and I can never have a relationship." Right? And then he said, "I've never done a single thing wrong to you." And
that's already wrong in the statement.
And I remember because there was like a pause, and then he said that. I was like, cool. And I literally grabbed my shit and I left, and I didn't talk to him for a year. My mom was like bawling and whatever, but he just wouldn't admit that he was wrong. And then that was like a point where I was like, I can't talk to this man.
Stubborn dog. Dude.
Yeah, stubborn. And so
why are pastors so stubborn? Asian dad pastors are so fucking stubborn, dude.
It's like, and he's not like that anymore. It has to do with either his youth or something.
It could be just frustration from
other stuff,
relationship, fucking money.
Definitely, yeah.
Raising 2 fucking crazy ass kids.
Well, one crazy kid, one normal kid. Yeah. He
That's why your brother's his little angel.
No, my dad, my mom. I remember my mom had a conversation with my dad. And I found this after the fact, but my mom told me that she had a conversation with him where he had this dream where he wanted his family to be in one household. Because he grew up in a broken household too.
But he broke the household. Does he not understand that?
So my mom would say that. She goes, you should feel bad for your father because he's probably one of the saddest human beings I've ever met. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, because he grew up in a broken household. His house wasn't that great, right? But at the same time, because he doesn't want that to happen, he's trying to keep you guys as close as possible. But because he's doing that, he's pushing you away. So he's
too thirsty.
Yeah, he's a thirsty.
He's too thirsty for family. Yeah. It's like, come on.
So he's
Chill
like,
out.
so he says it's very sad.
Yeah,
you know?
it's
like
pretty sad.
He's trying to keep you all together because he wants this family unit. But because he's doing that, he won't let you breathe. So he's pushing you away.
Damn.
But he wants to hold on to you so hard. So she says, feel bad for him. I was like, I do feel bad for him. But at the same time,
Not
like,
when I'm being abused.
yeah, it's like,
the fuck?
You can't call me stupid and expect me to stay around. And so she
Yeah.
talked to him. She goes, you have arguably, number one, she goes, if you wanted him to be this Korean kid, we should have lived in Korea. Why did you move us here? She goes, that was your choice. You chose to raise a Korean American kid. If you wanted a Korean kid where you live in this household and this generational family stuff, then we should have stayed in Korea. So you have to live with that choice. So David's an American kid. What did you want?
Damn. My mom said the same shit, dude. Your mom's smart.
Yeah. And so she, and I think that kind of hit my dad a little bit. He goes, oh, David, he's not going to be the kid that I want him to be. I was like, of course not. Like, what did you think? And so at that point, he didn't even apologize after a year. You know how I came back into the house? He calls me up. He goes, I have a new puppy. You want to come
That's
see
how
it?
you apologize?
Yeah. And it's that little black and white chihuahua that
You
you
can't
saw.
say sorry.
Yeah.
Dads, man.
Yeah. So I went to go see the puppy and we played with the puppy. And then he was just like, you should probably just move back in.
You should probably. It's still got to be an advice and shit.
Yeah, he goes, you should. He goes, why don't you
Oh
just
my
move back
God.
in? I cleaned up the shed. It's nice. Like, you can just move back in there. And I was like, is he saying sorry? I was like, all right,
Baby steps.
baby steps,
Yeah.
you know?
Are you past the point of like asking your father like how it was for him? Because your mom had to explain to you what it was for your father, for him to open up that conversation to. It might be a little overwhelming, but I mean,
Oh, I know what it was like because we had I mentioned this before where we had a huge fight where he actually opened up and told me, it was our last fight ever. It was like 4 years ago. So our last fight, he basically opened up and said, you know what? Like, you want this. She goes, I want to have a relationship with you, like the way you think.
he said that?
Yeah, because I told him, I was like, basically we got into this thing where I told him like, why can't you just talk to me like a person? I was like, I call our mom 2-3 times a week because we just talk. Hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just doing this shit, blah, blah, blah. We joke around, you know? Every time you call me, it's, what are you doing? Are you doing this right? Are you doing this wrong?
Yeah.
Why can't you just talk to me like a person? You're the one who wants to be close to me, but I haven't had a conversation with you ever, right? And he just goes, you know why I can't do that? Because my parents didn't talk to me like that. My mom didn't. Your grandma, your grandpa didn't talk to me like that. I didn't talk to them like that. I had to grow up. I had to take care of them. So for me, this is how I communicate. This is the only way I know how to. So he's like, you're trying to change me. You keep trying to change me and making me into this new guy, but I can't. This is how I am. So I'm at this point. I'm 60 years old. Who are you trying to change? He goes, you should be at the point where you're trying to understand me and change for me. And I was like, oh shit, you know? And I was like, you should understand this is how I communicate. So how come you can't do the same thing back for me? And I was like, oh shit, he kind of got my ass there. And so now I just, I was like, oh, this motherfucker said, checkmate, bitch. And I was like, oh shit. And I kind of was like, oh, I get it now.
But it's cool because he's kind of admitting to fall. Like, fuck, it's hard, man.
Yeah.
I've been talking to people like a fucking leader
Yeah.
So
what did you expect out of me? And
that's him just saying, I'm concerned for you.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, hey, you little bitch, how come you fucking post this?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it's so funny. He goes, so you know that YouTube video, you don't think you're uploading enough. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm getting like annoyed. He's like,
but that's his way of saying like, oh, is everything all right? Because you're not posting, and are you making enough money?
Yeah.
Do you need help?
That's like my mom too. We have a rule. I made a rule with her. I was like, you are not allowed to ask me about YouTube stuff because you don't know it and I don't know how to explain it to you. So stop asking, right? But without fail, 2 minutes later, you should probably post a video right now. I'm gonna fucking kill you, lady. Like I'm gonna destroy.
I'll have one for you.
Yeah.
And we transfer it over.
Oh my god, that's so fucking funny.
That's like the only. I mean, there's others too, but that's like the main time I had to like cut my dad out and then come back.
That's really amazing that your father.
But you didn't you took a break.
Yeah, break.
You didn't really cut him out.
No, I don't know if I'll be able to cut family out. Like I'm not like that though.
Well, you don't have shitty family.
Yeah, I mean they would have to do some fucking terrible shit.
Like
you know?
I had in-laws that we know. Well, a lot of my cousins just don't allow back into the family anymore because
Rapist.
Oh, that's pretty bad. But no, we don't have any of that.
So he told us on a podcast about his uncle who has a little bit of issues with that type of shit.
What?
Yeah, but keep going. Saying
okay. Well, I want to get to that, but, but anyways, there's multiple. Like I think multiple things happened in my family. Like we had a very toxic, abusive family, and people were like talking shit behind each other's backs and all this stuff, right? And then we found the root of the problem.